Hey, beautiful people. My name's Taylor, also known as Priceless Tay.
And I'm your co-host, Tedia Rosarion.
We want to welcome you back to What the
Finance! What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of WTF, your favorite money podcast. My name is Tedia Rosarion, and I'm here with Priceless Tay, the amazing Taylor Price, and we have a special guest. Today, our guest is going to tell us a little bit more about him and what he does, and everything about his finance journey. So let's meet Hakim. Hi, Hakim.
Hey, hello. How's it going?
How are you?
Great. How are you?
We're good, thank you. So we'd love to know about where you're from, your age, your occupation right now.
All right. I am 23, soon to be 24. I live in Montreal, Canada, and I am soon to be a real estate broker, just a few weeks away.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wish you luck in your journey.
Thank you.
So since you're in real estate, I don't know you're about to be a real estate broker. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the real estate world, if you know just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same everywhere, but I would say in general, we are still in a seller's market. So there are not as many houses for sale as there are people who are looking to buy houses. So more often than not, prices of houses are going higher than the asking price, which it hasn't been like that for many years.
And that's going to lead to a crash and stuff. That's what I've been hearing and speculating around, right? Because 1.9 or something million, at least Americans, since I'm from the United States, are all facing the same real estate crisis right now.
I don't know about a crash, but I believe over longer periods of time, we will have a few more foreclosures than we were experiencing in the last 6-7 years. But I'm not too sure about a crash. A crash can come from any which way at this point.
I heard it's crazy out there in real estate. You want to sell your house, it's good for you. But if you want to buy a house, you'd have to put up sometimes $100K more than the asking price. Actually, here in Canada, I don't know about the US. And it's been such a stress factor for people. So such a weird environment.
If you're ready to move well into the suburbs or out on the countryside, it might be okay for you. But big cities, yeah, you're gonna pay a lot more than the regular price at the time.
It's kind of crazy. Who would want to move into cities right now? I don't know about you guys, but there's still some cities in the US that are closed.
Yeah.
It's the same for us, actually. Our cities are not doing well, and it's been so refreshing to live out of the cities, and just have air. And I'm a kind of a suburb kind of girl, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But so about finances, can you tell us a little bit more about how did you learn finances? Was it something taught in your family with your parents, or how did you learn about finances?
So finances, for the most part, was self-taught, and with help from my significant other. For the most part, I was taught nothing growing up. I was a little bit of a hustler. I sold a lot of candy and junk food in high school just to make some extra money, but I spent most of it, and any of my savings would just go to a larger expense, be it a PlayStation or a field trip, whatever. But after, I would say, in the last 2 years, so around 21, 22, that's when I started taking my finances a bit more seriously.
And why is that, out of curiosity? What changed? What was that moment of change for you?
Yeah, so at 20 years old, I had a job that I did not like, working for a bank, and I decided to move with that job into an apartment that I could barely afford. So because I didn't like my job, I eventually got fired for showing up late and slacking off, and I was left with an apartment I couldn't really pay for. And after that, I had to start taking my finances pretty seriously in order to evolve and go on to the next step.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of most people's situations where you start your job, you realize that you hate it, you're getting ready to move out and start #adulting, and then you realize oh, this is quite a lot. to deal with coming all at once, like not even just your apartment rental, but also the utilities that come along with that, cable, food, all these other kinds of things that are like moving. And so I would have to ask, like, where are you today? Tell us about you today. Are you still kind of struggling in that position? And if so, like, let's Tedia and I, we bring it down. But tell us about where you are at now.
So since then, I had moved back to my parents' house. I'm currently there for the time being, with plans to hopefully get going in the next year or so. But I've managed to take the steps that you both have taught me, is to have my emergency savings and then start to invest my money to the point where I've been able to easily afford things like my education, getting a car, getting my school license, getting my driver's license, and still having money left over for my emergencies and my current investments that I like keeping active.
Wow, that Tadia, like we've done such a great
Yeah, he
you've
follows
done
us.
such an
If you
amazing
don't
job.
follow us, make sure you do. Tedia Rosarion on Instagram and Priceless Day on TikTok and Instagram. Right, so I can't believe like you were the kid who was selling like candies and stuff in high school. Like I always used to like see those kids selling like these. I don't know if you guys have these in the US. It's like Mr. Freeze. Do you guys have this? It's like
I don't know.
do they have that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so anyways, popsicles. Anyways, so yeah, for 50 cents, and they were just hustling. And so you were that kid. That's really funny. And then today you were able to like, find your way to a career that's actually unconventional. So how did you choose that career too? Because I know a lot of people like to have secured careers where they can count on fixed income. So for somebody out there who's just confused and doesn't want to go, to traditional school, like there's still careers out there to make a good living. Like, can you tell them some tips?
Yeah, so being someone who has worked, I think my first job I had was around 12 years old, working under the table, and I've always held a job here and there. I didn't really have much time where I was unemployed for since 12 until now. So for a good 11 years, I managed to take enough in to know that I don't like working for somebody in particular. I'd rather work with people, but I don't like having a boss and a strict schedule and a single task that I have to handle. And during the pandemic, I just was always thinking about what's the thing that I can be doing. And I just came across real estate brokerage, and it seems like a good fit. I still have to go out there in the world and do it, but definitely being able to manage myself and just work for clients as opposed to a manager or a boss or an owner seemed like what was right for me.
Yeah.
And would you say like real estate is your favorite field of finance? And if so, why?
Is real estate? Yeah, I mean, I enjoy a lot of different things about finance, but I think when it comes to real estate, it's probably considered the people consider it the most accessible means of passive income and income. I would disagree, but a lot of people are more open to it in that sense than they are to real world investing on the stock market and trading.
That's true. Well, I think it changed a little bit this year. Well, actually in 2020, where investing became accessible to everyone with like Robinhood, and in Canada, Wealthsimple. Things are really changing. It's really not like years ago. And so I see people like trying to invest in the stocks instead of real estate. But anyway, that's a whole other subject. But since you're talking about investing in stocks, like you have your very own journey, like how's it been for you? Like, do you have some tips? Like I know, like you were doing that maybe just for fun, or can you tell us a bit more about that?
So I'm quite a passive, relaxed investor. I don't spend most of my day looking at my investments or charts or what my next move is. I kind of take extra money that I have and I try and figure out what's the best stocks I can buy for me that suit me. I try to diversify as much as possible, because somebody who doesn't want to, take too much risk, you should know that over time the stock market will go up And that was the best way for me to do it without being too stressed about where my money's going. I figured, if I take some losses here, somewhere else I'm going to have my gains. On top of that, our government does give us here in Canada a tax-free savings account. And I find that that's like your biggest advantage, being able to invest out of that, compared to trying to get into real estate with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So true. And for the audience listening too, there is like a stock ETF kind of thing to get into real estate called REITs, REIT. They may or may not have really great returns. However, if you're trying to get into real estate and you don't have that hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can just try it out. I always say, like, you never know what you're actually going to like or not like, and that could be one very, very simple way to get into it. So Hakim, have you ever heard of REITs or invested in them?
Yeah, I do. I think I hold a couple of REITs. They give dividends, and I love me my dividends. To sum it up, I would check out, I believe you have a TikTok, if not an Instagram reel about REITs. I would definitely take a look at that. Taylor does explain it very well.
Awesome. Okay, so your best tip for our audience who wants to start investing is to remember that long term the stock market goes up, right? So just be patient, and your strategy is more passive than active, compared to like trading and whatever. So that's one thing to look at. You see your money grow every day technically, on an average, and that makes you happy. Do you know what you want to do with that amount invested? Is it like for a special project, or is it for retirement?
I haven't thought about that at this point. I just invest my money because I don't have any particular use for it or any future goal for it at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they'll come. But if I had to explain to people, if they're looking to do it and aren't interested in stressing about it or interested in doing too much research, as I said, diversifying is key. Knowing what you're interested in and what you already know about can be very helpful. For me, I diversify to the point where I also have investments that aren't part of the stock market. I own physical trading cards. I own cryptocurrencies, and that's my best tip, is to really diversify. And that way, you're going to see that where you make your losses, you're going to make your gains in other places, and you wouldn't have to overthink about what you're investing in.
Yeah, so we're actually looking for a third host for our podcast. We're looking for a younger male in Canada. Do you want to join or what?
No males. Males only. Sorry.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll guys, actually what he is saying is absolutely so true. A lot of the times when you think about diversification, most people just think, oh, just the stock market. Like, let me get something in the tech sector. Let me get something in the retail sector. Like, let me do that. But what Hakim is saying is to spread it across different like financial instruments, or investments, whether that be NFTs, which is something that's super popular now, or Pokemon cards, or some sort of trading cards, or even collectibles like sneakers, even Birkin bags. Like, these are all different assets that, like you said, one goes up, one comes down. It is really fascinating how this works out. So remember, diversification doesn't just mean in the stock market, literally means on every asset class you can think of.
Silver and gold is crash proof.
Right, exactly.
Good advice.
Yes, and you've also mentioned how you invested in all of these assets, but you let them grow. That means you use money that you don't technically need. So that's really important, you guys, when you start investing, is also using money that you don't mind losing, so that way you leave it there work and not like deciding to take it off 2 months after. It's just a bad idea. So we want to finish up with a little game, this and that. There's no bad or wrong answers. Just give us the answer that comes up at the top of your mind. So my first question for you, since you're about to be a real estate broker, would you say that you'd rather have commission-based salary or fixed income salary?
Commission-based, so you can work for your results.
Yeah?
Yeah.
you're going to be comfortable and you're not scared at all that you're going to be.
Not at all. I mean, I started reading a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. If anybody was interested in brokerage or becoming a real estate agent, it's an awesome book. And there are some pretty strong pillars that you need to follow. Just being able to have leads, being able to talk to people about real estate, creating that opportunity for yourself is going to be your key to success. The more people you can talk to, the better.
Awesome. My other question for you, this or that, since you already had an experience moving and also you were in real estate, would you say when you first move, go to an apartment or buy a condo?
I think it varies from situation to situation. Not everybody lives the same life. Some people cannot stay with their parents for whatever their reasons of not wanting to be in education or part of a certain educational system, or not wanting to be part of a religion, whatever it might be. I think you should learn to live below your means. And if that is possible and you have to go, rent. If not, try to own a property. I mean, right now it's more difficult than ever for one of us to do it, but if you can, if it's suitable for you, go do it. But I think, most of us, at least in this group, we're in our 20s. I don't think we want to reach our 30s and still be living at home.
No, there's nothing funny about it. It's just for me, I don't wish that for myself, but yeah. Okay, so I had a last question for you, this or that. Okay, so this is to get to know you just a little bit more. When you come home, do you watch sports or do you play video games? If so, what is your favorite team, or what is your favorite video game?
I come home and I definitely play video games. I bounce back and forth between quite a few. At the moment, I am playing Counter-Strike and I am playing Magic the Gathering Arena.
Awesome.
Everybody in our generation, I feel like that is like the most popular thing. Everybody is beginning to watch esports instead of like actual sports. Like, I don't know how many people, now that it's March Madness, and when this episode comes out, I think it'll still be March Madness, right? Yeah. So I wonder how many people are actually like watching the March Madness and actually participating in Market Madness, which is this really cool, now that I think of it, this really cool like stock market bracket where you can vote on your favorite stock, and kind of like March Madness, you win, I think, a $10,000 prize. It's super interesting. It's all on Twitter.
I don't know anything about it.
As a former athlete, I don't know. I've never been able to watch sports. I was always interested in playing them, and being able to play video games and be competitive when I play is something I find a lot more interesting than watching. I do, however, watch mixed martial arts or the UFC. I find that very interesting because it's a feat I'm not able to do, and I think it's like real combat. These guys are actually fighting each other, and they're very trained. And that's it for sports for me. I can't watch football, even though I used to play it.
Taylor, you also play video games. Like, I've never, except when I was a kid, never played really much. Like, do you still play? Do you still find time to play?
It was a pivotal moment of my childhood. That's how I made all of my friends. Like, I barely had any girlfriends. I literally had like 3. The rest of my friends were this group of guys. We'd all come on Xbox after school and play. And right as of now, I haven't played any sort of video game in probably a few months. The last one that I played was League of Legends. But it's something that I think about. It's just something hard to get into because I'm always like anxious of like, oh, I could be doing this. I could be making a video. I could be editing, doing all these other different kinds of things. But I definitely think it's a nice, good pastime, especially like it's a form of therapy for a lot of people. It's like super relaxing to play or super relaxing to watch. So maybe who knows? We'll see. But I'll definitely love to play with you, Hakim.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would be a wrap. Well, I want to know, Hakim, like with your real estate career, do you think like you'd want to, I don't know if you're already on social media, do you want to get on social media? Do you want to have like a TikTok famous real estate account?
At the moment, it's all TBD stuff. I do work on a real estate team, and we have to work out exactly how I would go about putting things on the internet. I do want to, but at the moment, it's to be determined. If I see you guys again, I'd be happy to let you know and give you an update on that.
All right. So right now, you're mostly a ghost if your followers want to find you.
Mostly a ghost.
No problem with that. Okay, so it was so nice, lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for the great insight, Hakim. And like you said, maybe we'll have you there another time. Why not?
That would be awesome. Thank you.
No problem. That's a wrap, you guys. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Thank you for listening to us. Bye.
Peace. You've been listening to WTF, What the
Finance
with the one and only
Tedia Rosarion.
And last but not least, Taylor Price. Make sure to receive all of the updates on WTF by texting WTF to 424-226-5797. Message and rates may apply.